Hi developers, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to share with you about decoding enums using the Decodable protocol. Alright, and the context of this is actually backend driven development, so I want to bring in an article to show you. So this is the Shopify engineering blog, and the title says implementing server driven UI architecture on the shop app. For those of you guys who are not familiar with a server driven UI or backend driven UI, it's basically an architecture where the backend will send a payload that determines how the front end should be rendered. Alright, so let me just scroll down to this article, and if you see over here, this is one of the page on the Shopify app, and you notice that this is quite typical of a home page, alright, where you have several sections. So you see over here we have a banner here, and then we have a shop identifier with the title and maybe some avatar, and then over here you see the next section we have this swim lane, which is nothing more than a horizontal collection view, and then subsequently at the bottom we see that we have a title here, a header, as well as a search field over here. Alright, so as you see at the bottom, I believe is this one over here, we have a grid of products over here. Alright, so this is also very similar to what we have on the Grab app. So if you are in Asia, you'll be very familiar with an app like that. So as you can see, there are many sections on the home screen. Alright, we have the search bar, we have this category collection view, which is a section, and then at the bottom we have this balance. This I think this is has to do with the wallet, and then over here we have the banner. Okay, so as you can see, there are many parts to this one screen. So how is this being rendered using the server driven architecture is to consume a payload that looks like this. So as you can see, this is a very simplified version. So over here you see we have the layouts field that is an array, and the reason is because the order is important, and that's why this is in an array. And inside this array we have a couple of elements. Okay, so we have 3 elements inside, and then in each object we have a type and a value field. Alright, so the second one, you notice we have a type and a value field as well. The last one, a type and a value field. And the type, alright, it contains a string. So over here it's banner, it's carousel, it's swim lane. So you can kind of imagine, like, when the front end consumes a payload like that, it knows exactly what are the sections it needs to render. So for instance, at the top, we want to show some kind of banner with the title "Welcome to 2023," and then below that we want to show some kind of carousel that has a bunch of images. So as you can see here, this is an array of image URL strings. The third one is a swim lane. So what is a swim lane? Let me just refresh your memory again. A swim lane will look something like, let me show it to you. It will look something like this. All right, so this thing is what we call a swim lane. Okay, so over here we have title, and this is an array of items, as you can see, title as well as image URLs. And why is that so? Because if you notice, in all of these items we have an image over here, and then we have a title over here as well. Alright, so I want to show you how we can pass this JSON structure and render that into a Swift struct or Swift class, because I think most of us are very familiar when we render arrays where all the objects are all of the same structure. But how are we going to deal with something like this? Okay, so obviously this is something that is being used in server driven UI or backend driven UI, and let's kind of explore how we can pass this into a struct. Alright, so over here in my test project, notice that I have this URL that's already defined. So this URL is this one over here. Okay, so I'm making a URL session API call to this URL, and then currently I just printed out the data. Alright, so as you can tell, the data is valid. We do have something that's coming back. So now what we want to do is to create a struct. So let's see how we can do that. Maybe let me just bring this out of the way, and let me just put this here. Okay, so what am I going to do to represent this? Okay, so maybe I'm going to call this struct a page. Okay, and this page will conform to the Decodable protocol. Okay, and let's see what the properties of this page has. Okay, yes, it has only one property, which is, let me just move this out of the way, which is only layouts. Okay, let me just make this bigger as well, and this bigger. Okay, so we have layouts, so let layouts, and it has to be an array of something. Okay, so since these objects over here are not uniform, I have to create some kind of component to represent these different types. All right, Okay, so what I'm going to do is to create an enum over here. Let's call this component. Okay, again, this will conform to the decodable protocol as well. And then the layouts will have several components. Okay, so since we know that these objects have different structure, so I'm going to create cases over here. So let's call this banner, and then let's call this carousel, and then let's have a swim lane. So again, so and so forth. If you have different types, you can create all the different components. And then let's create an unknown as well. So in the event if backend sends us something that is unknown, that's unexpected, then I'm going to classify that inside the unknown case. Okay, so over here I'm going to create the banner structure. So I'm going to do struct banner. This again has to be of decodable protocol, and I want to be able to represent this information here. Okay, so let type, okay, which is of type string. Okay, and then let value, which is of type what. Okay, so I'll do this of type value, and then let's do struct value. So again, conforms to the decodable protocol. So what is the value payload? We have a title. All right, so just let title, which is of type string. And then what I can do is that I can pass that inside this case over here. All right, so the associated type will be banner. Okay, so I'm going to do the same for the carousel now. So let's create a struct over here, carousel, and then again decodable. Okay, so I think it's very similar, so I'm just going to copy that. So the type will be of type string. The value will be a bit different. The value will contain images. Images will be of type string array. Okay, so value, yeah, I think this should be correct. Okay, so finally let's do the swim lane. So let's do a struct over here, swim lane, again of type decodable. And then let's have these things over here, type, value, but over here inside the value, it's not an array of images. Instead, it's an array of items. Okay, so items, and then this should be item. Okay, so at the bottom over here, let's create a struct to represent the item. Okay, so decodable. And what is inside the item? We have a title, which is of type string, and then we do have a image URL, which is again of type string. Okay, so I think this kind of looks good to me. Okay, so right now let's come to the component, and then I can pass in the carousel here, and then for the swim lane, I can do it this way, and then maybe for the unknown, I can just do, maybe let's set a type over here. Okay, so in the event if we are unsure what these objects are, I'm just going to capture that inside the unknown case with the type, which is of type string. All right, so just like that. Okay, so now the question is that how are we going to pass this? Because obviously, if we are to run the app right now, it's not going to work. Okay, so let me just show it to you first. So I'm going to do let page, which is of type page, equals to JSON decoder dot decode. I'm going to do a page.self from data. So I'm going to force unwrap it. So in the event if it fails, it's just going to crash, but I'm pretty confident that this will work. So anyway, I'm going to print out the page over here. So let's run this on the simulator and let's see if we are seeing the crash, which I believe we will see. So let me just wait for a little while. Okay, so we're getting a bunch of things of errors over here, and the reason is because we have to create our own custom initializer. And let me show you how we can do that. Okay, so inside this page over here, or rather I think inside the component, okay, we have to create a custom initializer over here. Okay, so let me show you to you how we're going to do that. So let me just also show you the payload, just like that. Okay, we don't need that much space, do we? Okay, so we first have to create some coding keys. So private enum coding keys. All right, string coding key. Okay, we want to represent these keys over here. Okay, so we have case type, and then we want to have value as well. So case value. Okay, so inside over here, we have to create the values. So let values equals to try decoder dot container keyed by coding keys dot self. All right, I believe that's how I do it. Okay, and then I think I can just move this out of the way, and then I can do let type Okay, so I'm going to get the type from all of these components inside. Let type equals to, I'm going to force unwrap this, okay? So anyway, when you guys do it in the real production environment, you're probably going to do like the do catch block and things like that to ensure that you handle the errors correctly. So decode type string dot self for keys dot type. All right, so what we are saying over here is that this type will be of type string, and then we are getting the key from this coding keys over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say case, or rather I need to switch this first. Okay, switch type. So case banner. Okay, so I'm going to maybe just handle for the first case first, and then default, this will be self equals to unknown. Okay, I'm just going to do unknown over here. Okay, so if I can check that this is of type banner, then I can do let value equals to try values dot decode banner dot value dot self for key value. All right, and then I can say self, or all right, okay, so I think I need to construct the banner over here. So let banner equals to banner type. I have the type already, so I'm going to pass that in, which is of type string, and then the value will be here, and then I can say self equals to banner, and then I can pass in the banner object, all right, which is like this. Okay, I hope that it's not too difficult to understand. Okay, so let me just run this on the simulator and let's see if we are getting anything. Okay, so you see over here, now at least we're not getting the crash. Okay, if you can see over here inside this page object, the first, this is of type banner. Okay, and then we have the value that says welcome to 2023. And then subsequently, we have unknown and unknown. So at least something is working over here. Okay, so let's handle the rest. Okay, so what can we do over here? So let's do another case. So let's do case, carousel, and then we can follow the same principle as well. Okay, so let value equals to try values dot decode carousel dot value dot self for keys value. Okay, and then I can do let carousel equals to carousel. Okay, we're going to construct the object. Okay, we have the type, and then we have the value over here, and then we can say self equals to dot carousel, and then we can pass in the carousel object over here. So again, let me just run this on the simulator, and let's hope for the second element to show up. Alright, so we are seeing something more. So we have this one over here, and then we do have the carousel here as well. Okay, I think the final one is unknown, so let's handle the last one. Okay, so now I'm going to do case swim lane, the same principle. So let value equals to try values dot decode swim lane dot value dot self for keys value, and then let swim lane equals to swim lane type value, and then self equals to swim lane dot, and then let's pass in the swim lane object. All right, so it's not as complex as I thought. It's pretty much the same structure. Okay, so let's run this on the simulator and let's see if we are getting those three parts inside. Okay, so it looks like we have everything over here inside, and to just double confirm that we are getting that, so you know what, let's just do it this way. Let's do if case dot swim lane let, maybe let's call this let value equals to page dot layouts and then dot last. All right, and then I'm going to do a print value dot okay, maybe let's call this object. So object dot value dot items, okay, dot maybe dot last. Actually last or first, it doesn't matter because there's only one, and then I'm going to do title. All right, so I'm sure we're going to get the hello inside this print statement. So let's just check it out to see if everything is showing up correctly. Okay, so I'm going to run the simulator right now, and then Let's see. Yes, we're getting hello. Alright guys, so this is again how you would pass a payload that looks something like this. Okay, I guess that's all I have for you in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers and bye.